We ask God to send His blessings to the suffering people of Southern Cameroon, to the families who've lost their children, parents, brothers and sisters. From Akum Julius, who was shot at Commercial Avenue on the on the 8th of December 2016. To those who were shot at Babanki yesterday, and those who were killed, massacred in Kumba day before yesterday. We ask God to send His blessings to them. The question I ask is, what have we done? What did we do? We pray that God brings justice to the people of Southern Cameroon. If we are the ones wrong, may God put us in hellfire. But if we are not wrong, if we are right, that we freely opted to live with La République du Cameroon, if we are right that La République du Cameroon had our independence apart from us on January 1st, 1960, if we are right that we have always fought to get a single thing in this country, if we are right that it is not even us who went out from the illegal constitution. We call it illegal because it wasn't legal. Explanations have been given times without number for what makes a federal constitution to be legal. For it to be legal, it has procedure. The foundation must be built in law. For it to be legal, Foncha had to have signed the constitution. Aijo had to have signed the constitution. Both parliaments had to have endorsed the constitution, the House of Chiefs and the Parliament of La République du Cameroon respectively. And then this constitution is supposed to have been deposited in the United Nations. If we are right about that, if we are right that the United Nations has no record of any country like the Federal Republic of Cameroon, if we are right that the United Nations has no record of any country like the United Republic of La République du Cameroon, which means it has always been La République du Cameroon. If we are right about that, if we are right that President Biya himself last year admitted that they have tried to assimilate us and it didn't work because of identical and cultural problems. If we are right that even SDF made killings upon inception, which was the opposition that brought in democracy. If we are right that people only marched with peace plans until they started killing them, if we are right that lawyers were beaten, teachers were beaten, and when students decided to join them, they were raped and beaten, if we are right about this, then may the same God bring all perpetrating this evil from La République unto Southern Cameroon to hell. It is not a doomsday I'm bringing, but that is the promise of God. Our humanity has totally been completely taken away from us. We don't matter as a people. To the international community, you know we are right. You know we are well within our right to say that enough is enough with a country we chose to ally with. You know we are right. You know we are right to defend ourselves with laws that you propagated and endorsed. Those of self-determination and human rights. You know we are right. You know we are right when we refer to history saying that we had independence on 2 different days and dates, and ours was not properly conducted by Great Britain. You know we are right. You know we are right. And if you think we are not, if the federalists, the traitors, La République du Cameroon think we are not right, let's meet on an internationally mediated table, have the debate. If you prove us wrong, we are going to be on our knees and apologize to you and take all the blames of even our parents that you've killed. We will take the blame. Come on the table and tell us how and when we became your slaves and your terrain when you train your police and gendarmes. We cannot breathe even in the land of our birth. We go abroad, we do the same thing. In the land, my land where I was born, Mancon, I am being terrorized, brutalized by policemen whose uniforms are bought with tax money my parents and I paid, whose training is being given with tax money my parents and I paid. They compel me to speak French. Look at what is happening. Look at the people dying, the children dying, innocent children dying. As sad as it is, the root cause must be addressed. Basic questions must be asked and answered. If not, the United Nations, the African Union, the diplomats, the US Embassy, you would send all of these lamentations tweets, you would send all of this condemnation, and just the next day, people will still die in Santa and they will die in Babanki as it happened yesterday. And in a few months to come, another massacre will occur under your watch. May God hear our prayer. May He pour mercy upon us. Even Pharaoh, at the last minute, gave up. Those stories in the Bible are not just stories for emendations, are not just stories for enablement, and they are neither parables Those stories happened. God allowed them happened to tell humanity how he works. He doesn't like oppression. He doesn't support oppression. He doesn't like slavery. He doesn't support slavery. And all of his people in bondage will be free. They will be free at all cost. Southern Cameroonians, what you should know is that you're not fighting. God is fighting for you. You're not even talking when you say the right thing. God is talking for you because you cannot fight. You don't have anything to fight with. You've never been fighters. You are peace-loving people who are reasonable and believe in the force of argument. You believe in the power of love, not in the love for power. This is why God stands with you. Because when there is truth, falsehood would perish. Stay on that path. On your own, you can do nothing. Like Jesus Christ said, peace be upon him, in the book of John, chapter number 5, verse number 30, I on my own self can do nothing. I judge as I hear, and my judgment is just because I don't seek my will, but the will of God who sent me. Let's continually, Southern Cameroonians, seek the will of God. Let his will be done. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus Christ fell on his knees and bowed down to pray, he ended by saying, if this is thy will, may thy will be done. We have never claimed to have anything. We don't have anything, but we have our God. Our God would definitely stabilize the storming sea. Water shall find its level even upon southern Cameroons. The weak voices would become strong. The oppressors will bow down and back out. The statement enough is enough needs a redefinition and a reconstruct. Because this is more than enough is enough for us. Southern Cameroon elites, I said this 4 years ago and I'm reminding you, the blood of our children are in your hands. You cannot wash them clean. We are not asking you to do anything, but we are reminding you that you will live with it. You have to eat with it. And good thing, all of you are all of you are Anglophones. So you have our culture. You eat. If you are not from the northern zone, you must be eating watafufu. So you use your hands to eat. If you are in the northern zone, then you eat fufu a lot. So you would use those bloody hands to eat until God calls you back to answer for what you've done. Okay. May God rest the soul of our children who were killed. May God rest the soul of all who have been killed because they stand for truth, or because they walk among those who stand for truth, or because they simply belong to where truth is being called for. By definition, it is called genocide. Not my definition. That is what genocide is. I am just so surprised that for 3 years, these bullets don't touch the many, many, many Francophones living in southern Cameroons. The millions of them, none of these bullets have gone close to them to even take them to hospitals. I'm just amazed with this coincidence. Perhaps it is not a coincidence. It is a miracle because it is least probable. Miracles are least probable occurrences. It is least probable that I or you or anyone in this world today can walk on lukewarm water. None of us can. But it is probable that someone can manage to walk on ice water. If anybody happens to walk on lukewarm water, that is the least of probabilities and it defies natural science. Hence, it will be called a miracle. Likewise, for millions of Francophones to be living in southern Cameroon, and for 3 years we've had people dying from stray bullets from unknown men who don't have specific targets, so to say, and yet we have not a single record of these bullets scratching a Francophone. I say it is a miracle because it's the least probable occurrence. Saturday, a schooling day, our children went to school in Kumba without their teachers, without an instructor. Our minors have been killed. May the curse of God be upon those who commit such murders. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter number 5, ayah number 32, anyone who kills a single innocent life, except it be for murder or committing mischief in a land, is as though he has slain the entire humanity. And anyone who saves a single innocent soul, it as though he has saved the entire humanity. Anyone who kills any single person, the crime, the magnanimity of the crime, the punishment on the crime is as though you've done so to the entire humanity. May God punish those who kill our children. Dear Southern Cameroonians, we must remember that the greatness in humanity is really not being human. The greatness of humanity is in being humane. We have to be humane. For you Christians who believe that Jesus Christ died for you on the cross, if he did that, it wasn't because he was human. It was because he is humane. He feels for you. We have to feel for one another. And if we do feel for one another, we need to keep asking ourselves one question. Why did we join this struggle? Each and every single one of us must answer this question. Why did I join the struggle? Don't forget, it's an important question to put on your paper and ask yourself. Secondly, where is this? Tembi K. Nelvi. Let's block him. Just hold on. I'm blocking this person. Block him. So no way to say nonsense again. Yeah, please just help me. If you see any negative comment, call my attention and I will block such persons. We don't have time for that. My brain is too small to take what is going on in Southern Cameroon. So I don't have time to put any other field on the head. I only have small space, and that space has been reserved for positive issues that will liberate myself and my people. All right, I want to call on leaders. You say elders. Honorable Weber, I hope this message gets to you. Because I've tried to reach you and I didn't get you. I trust God is keeping you safe. And I trust that you're healthy. May this message get to you, sir. Not just you, sir, also Professor Anyangwe, Dr. Atang, Pandangam, Mangang Edith, and of course, Dr. Elizabeth Ambi, and many others whom I will not mention names here because we don't have time. But to you, whose name I've mentioned, if you allow us, your children, to bully you into silence, which is destructive to the struggle you ignited. Honorable Weber, you in particular, you did a job that was a water spray on us all. You did a job in 2016 December in the Parliament of La République du Cameroon that would go into history as the last stage to the end of fear. We on Ground Zero would never forget what that did into the mindset and hearts of 8 million people. If today you stay silent because of our arrogance, our bullying nature, our shambolic attitude, our obnoxious mannerism, then you're not doing justice to the job you did in 2016. You're not doing justice to 8 million people. It goes to Professor Anyangwe. It goes to Dr. Liz Ambe, whose expose on education got me to march on the 22nd of September 2017. You cannot stay silent. Firebrand Mangang, Dr. Atam, Badangam, and many, of course, our in quote godfather, His Royal Highness Pafong Gonji Dinka, is also alive. Get up, hit your hands on the table, and put us once more on the right path. The way to do that is to do reconciliation where necessary and ensure that strategic collaboration occurs. If not, we would, after every 2 months, shed the tears we shed. What do you do to own the property of children, of orphans? 7 children, 10 children, or 15 children, or 20 who've lost their parents, and their property is being eyed by neighbors and enemies. What do neighbors and enemies need to do to own that property? All they need to do is make sure that the children are at loggerheads all the time. They need to ensure that the children are fighting among themselves all the time. They need to be sure that the children don't even talk to themselves all the time. They need to make sure that the children lose the focus, which is their property, and engage on personal differences. While the children are doing this, they will grab that property and divide them without any consent. If there is no crack in your house, crocodiles, wall geckos, lizards would not enter. If you don't leave your door open, crocodiles, wall geckos, and lizards would not enter your house. There must be a crack. But rest assured, they are always ready and they want to enter. If you don't want them to enter, you need to make sure that there is no crack. Now, dear Southern Cameroonians, we don't need the Bible. We don't need the Quran to teach us that a house divided against itself cannot stand. We don't need the Bible and the Quran to teach us. If you have lived up to 20 years, you must have experienced that a house which is divided against itself cannot stand. Again, I'm challenging you Christians, especially those of you who abuse and insult. Why is it that you trust the Bible on salvation and you reject its opinion on things like collaboration, reconciliation, harmony, and things? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? But like I said, we don't even need these holy books to teach us that. Any sane human being knows that a house which is divided against itself cannot stand. And houses which are not divided, always triumph and thrive even in the darkest of hours. It is during this period that I truly attest that this is a God-ordained struggle, because otherwise it would have been over. But since it is not our job that is holding it, it is not the words that we provide that is holding it, it is God's hands. That is why it is still standing. But do not forget something, that even the temple of Jerusalem was destroyed. God allowed it to be destroyed. Do not forget. Do not forget how many times you Christians, the Philistines, defeated the Palestinians, the Israelites at war. Do not forget. Do not forget. All right. So, the simple truth is that we cannot do a lot about the genocide. If we shared information correctly, necessary information, not all. If we shared diplomacy correctly, necessary ones, not all. If we shared communication and all of these things, definitely is going to minimize whatever damage that is supposed to be caused on us. I was at the place where they are keeping our leaders in Yaoundé yesterday. We could not help crying, all of us. We could not help crying. But the message I have is that stay strong, stay committed. Stay strong, stay committed. That is very important. Our prisoners of war, the IDPs, refugees, the sick, are very important priorities as we move along. There are others we cannot mention, which you know, because we don't have time. But I've mentioned 4 very important areas we must always consider. Today, the 26th, I visited Dr. Mufo. Dr. Mufo is a man I saw on TV, on Equinox TV. He had that day like 400 children who are supposed to be Southern Cameroonians who left their homes, and about 200 adults. So with the help of some comrades in Canada and Germany, I've been able to visit this man. And these are the things he said. Actually, it's a sub-chief or a sub-fawn from Baligam in Santa, who resides here in Douala. I want to ask Southern Cameroonians to thank this man, to pray for him, to encourage him, because he's going through a lot, even from the La Republique government. A lot. He's going through a lot. But he has said he would rather die than allow any of these children suffer to the extent where they cannot eat. So now, he has over 500 people in his keep. Over 500. Initially, all were with him at his palace at Makepe. That is an area in Douala. So, locations for accommodation have been offered by our brothers, may God reward them duly, in the diasporas and sisters in the diasporas. But most importantly, there is a Nigerian who goes by the name Emeka, is a business tycoon here, according to what Dr. Mufo told me. He's a business tycoon here in Douala. This man has rented over 60 rooms. May God bless you, sir. He has rented over 60 rooms and accommodated more than 280 of our people in Douala, and is helping to try and feed them. May God help him. Some people in the diaspora who have houses around here have given up their homes, and they have given up some money, and they are housing some of these people. So now, currently, at his residence, he has 54. These 54 are some mothers and little kids. Some of the kids are children who were abandoned with him by their mothers. You know, it is not easy. So as when people come, young people and even adults who could do something, he gets job for them. For example, security jobs and things like that. And then there are young, small children who are being engaged in hawking. They sell camphor, by his words, groundnuts, face mask, and things like that. So he has encouraged them to take up some of these. So some of these mothers, these young mothers, they brought their children, but life was difficult according to him and according to what they think about what they were going through. So in the event of that, what happened? They abandoned the children, took up prostitution. This is what our people are going through. It's sad to say, but it's important I relay it to you. Some took up prostitution, some have gone right to Central Africa for prostitution, some are here in Douala, and they have abandoned the children with him. A major challenge, because he has support, like he told me, from a lot of Southern Cameroonians and others. So what he does is that all of them now come on Sunday and Saturday to him. They come in different shifts. If it's food he has bought, or some medications, or where he needs to give money, they assemble at his palace, and then he executes that with the aid of his some of his own people. Now there are immediate concerns that they have, and this has been even the concerns of the prisoners. So medications, malaria medications, antibiotics, because most of these people come with wounds. You know, most of them ran from bullets, harassment, torture. They come with wounds, so antibiotics, calcium, they are weak. Like these children, I saw them on the floor, very, very weak. And then food stuff like gari, beans, rice, stuffs like that, and cooking oil. But he insists on not groundnut oil. He insists on palm oil, what you call red oil. So those are these people are from by and large from Way, from Isu, from Wum, from Bo, from Bui, and Lebialem, and all of these places. So this is the information. May God bless him. May God bless those who have been helping these children through him. And yes, it's a short one I decided to make, and I'm sorry for the emotions, but I really can't understand how we got ourselves into this quagmire, that we are being killed by a black man in the 21st century because of a piece of the territory. I am just flabbergasted at the whole thing. And there is a table that has been set for negotiations. Negotiation doesn't mean you're going to sit on the table to start give orders to one another. No. We are going to have an intellectual debate in a dialogue manner, in a civilized manner, and then of course move on to negotiate. You refuse to do it, and you bring in more soldiers and impose more rates. You tag the people terrorists, and you bring in weapons every day on their heads. And the international community is watching this. This is wrong. All right. So that is it. And again, I'm reminding the frontline leaders of this escalation phase of the struggle. Surrogates who are my comrades, you can say whatever you want, but I'm not making arguments in silence. I'm making them in evidence. I keep using the word collaboration. You keep using the word unity and putting unity. I use the word collaboration. I've used the word reconciliation. And it's not everything that we bring to the public space. There are some that have to stay in the back. We must collaborate. I say must collaborate. We must find areas to work together with. If you like, call the others pigs and then call the others enablers. They call you the same thing. Two comrades, one is telling the other one you are a traitor, the other one is telling the other one you are a traitor. And everyone thinks they are right in their own giving. Therefore, the sound mind would say, in this case, collaborate strategically. Find areas where you can collaborate. Agree on some basic issues and work on those, and the rest, do it yourself. I'm asking you, which one of the groups can take care of all our prisoners and refugees? None. We must work together to take care of these people. Which one of us can do diplomacy effectively and totally on their own? None. We must work together. God has given all of us different talents, different abilities. We put them together to make a whole. That is the little message that I have for you. Keep praying for our people. Let's pray that another massacre doesn't come. Let's pray that our leaders recognize that this thing has nothing to do with them. Really and truly, we didn't know ourselves, most of us, before now. One thing brought us together, motherland. How can we turn motherland into differences among ourselves? The energy we use on one another, if that energy will be converted on the struggle itself and against the enemy, you know the result. You know the result. But that is not happening. So let me see. Okay, blog America, Canada. Thank you. Let me look for it. We don't need all of those. I actually need to clean my Facebook. We don't need okay. We don't need Facebook following. For those of you who know me, at least who knew me before the struggle, you will know that I don't need Facebook following. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook following is totally and completely different from full support. And if you've been following the struggle, you would have known that. Those are two different things. You're there with about 300 people watching you, and 250 are those you cannot identify, and you call that support? You call that support? How are you sure that is not simply an enemy to your brother? There's a time when we are going to test who supports what. That time is coming. For now, we don't need all of this. So all of this thing, we have to get in and clean the page. Let's have 100 people of quality who can promote ideas, argue fairly, and move on with the struggle, instead of all of these many likes or love signs or views which are detrimental, you know. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. MashaAllah. Okay. So at least think about this. You need to have new hashtags like dialogue without negotiations. Yes. End the war in Southern Cameroons. Dialogue without negotiations. And of course, another hashtag would be stop the public fight. I mean, someone is asking, how can you foster collaboration? That's the first place to begin with. Imagine you walk Facebook for 1 week without having insults on your comrades, but having good ideas. Look, I said it, let me repeat it again. Envy, when you're jealous of people for nothing. hate does four things to you. It adds your problems, it multiplies your difficulties, it subtracts your energy, and it divides your effectivity. So someone who has an added problem, who has multiplied difficulties, who has a subtracted energy and a divided effectivity, what good can they bring to their family, to themselves, or to a struggle? Nothing. When you're consumed with hate and envy, you lose focus. So just imagine how Southern Cameroonian hearts would be beautiful for 1 week because we don't have negative surrogacy and insult. And then imagine what the enemy will be thinking. You know, you hate your neighbor and you're always praying for him and his wife to fight. And yes, of course, every day you hear them fighting, breaking things in the house. And then for a week, you don't hear any plate breaking on the floor. You don't hear any noise coming from that house. And then you hear laughter of joy. What happens to you who was the hater? You can die. And they have not done nothing to you yet. Just their peace hurts you. Then you can imagine if you now decided to quietly fight such enemies. So this is my view. And I'm really hoping that I'm wrong in that we must find ways to collaborate. But I think for the last 2 weeks, I've not had any reason to think I'm wrong. But of course, I've had reasons to think, okay, there are ways you can go about it. There is this thing you can do. There is that thing you can do, which of course, I'm taking this advice. I made it very clear that I don't have all the ideas. But listen, great ideas come from one mouth. One person has to mention it or start doing it at a time. But at the completion of the entire process of that idea, many things would have been added on by many people. That makes it so beautiful. But someone has to start it. You know, it must start from somewhere. That's how I see it. So things to take home. Let's keep praying. Let's mourn, but at the same time, remember those who are living. Our children are suffering. There is a comrade in the jail also who is due for surgery, perhaps. He has a swollen stomach. Okay, I left one thing. So 13 out of the people who have been with this Dr. Mufo have died. The last died yesterday. The last person who died yesterday, he died in the Tiko Hospital of Hainia. It's an adult. I've forgotten the name. Maybe you've even heard it already. So people are dying. So this is why the medication issues, the call for medication supply is very important. Thank you very much. I'll just go through and see if there's any question linked to the subject that you want me to take, without which in the next 5 minutes I have to go. Thank you. Yes, I've blocked America, Canada. I think I did that. Yeah. Okay, let me answer this. London, Stephen, what about the Swiss dialogue? Listen, the Swiss dialogue is alive, and it is the only process for now. I've said this many times. I'm not saying that it is the best process. I'm saying that it is the only one that we have. There are no two. But of course, what people have not understood, but I think I've done justice to this subject bilaterally and publicly. The Swiss don't have the mandate to force anybody onto the table. That is not the job of the mediator. You Southern Cameroonians, you've not done your job. You've been fighting yourself. You've not done your job. Please just look at negotiations that have happened in the war. Take the case study of Colombia and East Timor. Look at those cases and see how it happened. It is not because the Swiss, for example, who is in our case the mediator, forced another person. You need to do your job. But what has been our job? On the one hand, part of our job has been support of the process and working towards it, which led to the birth of acts. On the other hand, part of our job has been sabotaging and destroying the process. On another hand, part of it has been doubting the process. This is what we have done. This is what we've done to the process. Is it alive? Yes. Is it going to be alive forever? The answer is no. Definitely. If we are stubborn, and making the enemy more stubborn about the process, it would definitely meet a dead end. They will not continue, the sponsors will not continue sponsoring this process. The Swiss herself have other jobs to do. They will not continue wasting time, for example, so to say, is it wasting time? I don't know which word to use. They will not continue investing time if they see that we are not willing as a people to marshal on. That is what I can say about the process. Okay. Okay, so someone is Paul Tendu. Impolitest, so I block you. That's just, it's as simple as that. We don't need all of this. You know, like someone said, you can bring your ideas and bring it politely. You know. Okay, someone is asking, what did our leaders say about reconciliation and collaboration? Alhamdulillah, thank God there is progress on that, but those are the things we cannot mention on. Keep praying, and when you talk to the leaders also, be positive. Encourage them. Remind them whence they came. Remind them who they are and where they're going. Remind them that all of us will make mistakes. Not that we have made, we will die in mistakes. But the wise person is he who recognizes his mistake and turn back to the right path of God. And remind them, pray for them, remind them that they have to recognize that we are all in this together. Don't push negative words into their ears. They already are in enough pain. Don't insult them. Don't call them names. Don't accuse them without tangible proofs. Listen to them, encourage them, and support them. So yeah, there is hope. There is hope. And that is why we are here. Without hope, we are finished. Okay, I can see we don't have any questions. Okay, please share the information if you can. Someone is asking, sir, be honest to yourself. Look, when you start a question like this, be honest to yourself, as though I'm not honest to myself. I'll be polite to answer, but I would have blocked you. That's my new decision, is that any impolite language, I block you. It's not by force, but for the sake of the rest of the 200 people watching, I'll answer your question, Lipak Amaru Khan. I've never had any conversation with Ellie Smith on this subject. Ellie Smith would tell you that I don't talk to Federalists. I don't even consider him a Federalist, because he's not a bona fide Southern Cameroonian. I've never had this conversation with him. I don't have it with him. I have it with Swiss, and I have it with comrades who are talking about it. I don't have it with Federalists. It has nothing to do with them, in my opinion. So it's not something I discuss with them. However, this is not in defense of any other person. I'm asking specifically to myself. I've never had any conversations with any Federalist about this process. Never. And I won't have it. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't throw up and swallow it. My position has been made very clear from day one, and that position can't and won't change. And one of it is that I have nothing to discuss with Federalists. They should marshal their efforts with their master and meet us on a table. That is it. So, and I want to say something about what is a leakage. Those audios and videos I've heard out there, to me, those are not leakages. What are leakages? What is there to leak? What is there to leak? Those things can be played and replayed all together. Let's have everything played for us to... Naturally, we shouldn't be doing that publicly. We shouldn't have conversations and make it public. But since part of it is outside, let's play the entire videos and audios. To me, what? And if President Sako is talking with Ellie Smith, what? That I say I will not talk to a Federalist doesn't make other leaders you know, it doesn't preclude other leaders not to talk to them. They should talk to anyone who has anything to say. They have to listen. That's their position. I am not in their position, and they are not in my position. What's wrong in having that conversation? You know? So, listen. Like that which you heard Secretary Chris saying that it might be that La République is using Switzerland and Belgium and so on. Let me just say this here, just so you know. We have that kind of conversation all the time, even in the ACT Forum. Will you not be happy that we do? That is to tell you that we are not fooling around with anybody. That was an assertion and not a conclusion. I myself have said that many times. I said, let's be careful, no one is taking us for a ride. We speak about those things. We ask those questions. But we do recognize that it's a legitimate process. This doesn't mean we don't believe Switzerland or Canada. No, this means we are careful. They should know that we are not laughing with the lives of 8 million people. We keep saying it like that. We hope that there is no game. Won't you be happy that those who are, and I heard you know, the other statement, look at those who are going to do, I was not in that meeting, but look at those who are going to represent Southern Cameroon on a negotiation. No. The people in ACT are not there to represent Southern Cameroon on the negotiation. No. They are there to pave way for the negotiations. There are many experts that would negotiate for us. ACT is only there to create the umbrella, the forum that brings all of us together to fine-tune whatever manner and things we are going to be negotiating. That is the position, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, I would be impressed that such an umbrella is very skeptical and they put everything to scrutiny. That is it. So I don't want to go into whether or not it was a cut and paste here, maybe audio put behind a different picture and things like that. To me, all of that is irrelevant. But at the same time, that tells us something. I'll tell you, that tells us something. At the same time, what Comrade Eric Tato is doing, to me, at the same time, I don't consider it bad. I don't consider it bad. Let him do what he thinks he can do, but ask himself constantly, is it pushing things ahead? Is it stalling us or things like that? But let him do what he can do. And this should also teach others lesson of privacy, of trust, of humility. It should teach others. So all is good. All is good. But I'll tell you from my own vantage point, and there are some people who have more information about ACT or my experiences. They know that. One day they will come to testify. We have such very vigorous conversations, but those audios and videos have been put in the worst rudimentary manner. That does not really represent the context. But yeah, to me, on that regard, Comrade Eric should continue, but he should be careful. When you go far to accuse people of corruption, which is done to my person, you know, he should be careful. He should be careful. And when you go even far to accuse a country like Switzerland and SD for corruption, you should be careful. You know, so when I hear that, well, I went to the third meeting and there was no money. I've said this many times. There was not even a dime. I was coming back home with a few euros and dollars that were donated by comrades and given me. Dr. Ellard collected with the day I was leaving to take a train from Geneva from Montreal to Geneva. So no money. And Chris Anu has never been to Switzerland. He has never been to Switzerland, not in a single time. He's member of ACT later on by virtue of a staff member, by virtue of being a staff member of the interim government. He's never been to Switzerland. And when you say that the wired money into his account, that is a big lie. And I also heard all of these things. Please, let's be careful. Like Beris, the sister of Comrade Chris. I was with her as said. I heard her interrogators. I listened to her case. when you come out and say that 100 and what million was put in her account, this is just blackmail and defamation of character for nothing. That is not true. Again, that is not true. That woman didn't have that. They met her at her home and took 1 million, which is Njangi money. And those who have the Njangi have come as witnesses in her case. Let's stop this. What does it benefit you, by the way? So, yeah, criticize, do a good critique on truth. If someone did something which is wrong, well, if you choose to do it publicly, be sure that it is true. Look, not every facts are true. It's a fact that we discuss certain things in art, but how true you understand those facts depends on many other things. So not every facts are true. Please, I hope that answers the question. Okay. Okay, I think that's enough, right? Yeah, so please stop the insults. Stop the insults. Even on Comrade Eric, pray for him. Yeah, he's right in some things and wrong in some. He's right in some, wrong in some. And the bad thing is just the insult. Let's keep praying, you know. Let's keep praying. Because, listen, fighting my brother in public doesn't make me strong. That's a simple philosophy. Yeah. Someone is saying you are supporting the lies Chris tells on ABC. Now, for the other viewers, I mean, you see the horrible statements people bring. I don't know if you who have been following have the same question like this guy has, Henry Come. So you are supporting the lies Chris tells on ABC. I don't know what lie. I answer the question from my vantage position, from my experience, and you're telling me I'm supporting lies. Look, you have yellow fever and you think I'm yellow. Just go to the hospital, okay? So, all right, keep praying for us all. Thank you. Okay. If Chris had lied to you, why are you talking about it to me? Why don't you know how to talk to Chris? Why are you bringing the question of another person's character to me? That's not my job to analyze character of people. Someone asked a question regarding leakages, and I was addressing that. Yeah, someone is saying you only talk about Eric. Yeah, because Eric has talked about me, and of course, he's my comrade. Who should I be talking about? Atanganjipo. Who should I be talking about? I talk about my comrades. If you realize I don't even have time for federalists, not to talk of traitors. So who should I be talking about? Of course, I'll talk about Eric. Why not? But you realize I would never insult him. So. Okay. All right, please. I'm sorry. I have to go now. May God bless you. I think we should play this one more time and then we go.
shoot our people them down. Shoot our people down. Politicians say they can shoot them down. Say they can shoot them down. But one day fire go burn them down. One day the table go turn around. One day the powers go knock them down. And which kind of government it is? Take me down to England. I want to see the Queen.
Do you really think anything fruitful can come out from Switzerland? I don't know if you're asking if Switzerland as a country or my interest, my preoccupation is to get Southern Cameroon and La Republic du Cameroon on an internationally mediated table. It doesn't have to be Switzerland. That is the interest. So it is not Switzerland per se, Switzerland, but that is the only country that is on board now. What do we do? All right. So that I hope that answers the question. Let them come on the table and tell us how and when they took our country.
I want to show how the bullets them use on my brothers. I know she's a mother to every child. That's my mama. I know that mother won't let me down. We want to be free. We want to be free like Ghanaians. To be free like Kenyans. To be free like South Africans. To be free, but listen, they compel us to stay back from the way to freedom. Every ruler been a king, but we don't see the kingdom. If you open up for talk, they say that one go bygone. So they treat you like a lesser person, lesser human. Cause you stand to say the truth, you be a Boko Haram. We ain't got no freedom of speech, freedom to teach. Every day we be a living threat, not the thing they preach. When you speak against the nation, you a terrorist. When the nation goes against the people, it is politics. We see some brutal killings all over the world, so people know that human rights again all over the world. We pray to all these people.
Yeah, someone is asking, is Sako and Ano really working? I don't know, Aston West, I don't know how old you are, but if you don't respect them for the offices they have in the struggle, respect them for their age, brother. I mean, you can put Mr., you know what I mean? Yeah, of course, without the shadow of doubt, unless you are blind to see how hard these two gentlemen are working. Unless because you hate and disagree with them, everything they do don't matter. Do not forget, the Pharisees were asking this particular question about your own Jesus. So much such that they went up to him and asked him, if you be the Christ, why don't you speak? Christ meaning Messiah. That's John chapter 10 verse number 23. If you be the Christ, why don't you tell us plainly? You know, they were charging him for being ambiguous. He's not being very clear. He's been equivocal with his word. In verse 24, he replies, I have told you, but you don't believe me. My flock who follow me know who I am, and they believe me. The Father who has given me to them has sealed them and given them to me. I and the Father are one. So you have to understand, even those who were seeing Jesus, who knew about him, because I've been reading the previous scripture before him, they knew about his coming, they were expecting the Messiah, still question his activities. So I don't doubt when you question the activities of your other comrades. Of course, Dr. Sako and Secretary Chris are doing tremendously good. They can do better. We always charge our leaders to do better, but that doesn't take away a single drop from what they are doing so far. All we can pray is that he gets himself reconciled with Sisiku and then find ways to collaborate with other frontline groups and leaders like Comrade Bakoro, Dr. Cho Ayaba, and so on. This is what is at stake. This is what we should really be talking about, and nothing else. Nothing else. This is what should be embedded on our lips, not partisanship, not pretending to love Dr. Sako or Sisiku more than one another. Don't do that. Where do you know them? If you love Southern Cameroons, then you would find ways. You have to let reason win, not your whims and desires. Thank you. I have to go now.
That is suffering and sin. We stand with people when we fight against this injustice. All the leaders for the world will pick them up. Police shoot our people
All right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me go now. And please, just one word before I go. You see the people in that place called Act, you owe them. These people don't sleep. They don't sleep for up to 40 hours every week. What am I talking about? 40? They don't sleep for up to 30 hours every week. Deliberating and working for you. They don't sleep. Pray for them and thank them if you can. That's the only thing you can do for them. They are working very hard, irrespective. So pray for them, bless them, so that God would also return blessings to you. Wa akhru dawana, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.